Deep in metal veins of this concrete hive, I feel the pulse of a serpent alive. Ancient incense cuts through gasoline, a ghost within the chrome machine. Drifting sideways through the static cave, losing my reflection in the violet maze. The wheels spin circles but the soul stands still, surrendering to the heavy iron wheel. A humming in the marrow of my bones, a transmission coming in heavy tones. Glide across the asphalt like a needle on the track, going where the shadows never try to turn us back. The low vibration swallows every fear I used to know, moving with the current where the dark waters flow. We are caught inside the gravity of one long breath, a temporary victory over the silence and the death. The desert sand hides under layers of the street, the modern and the primal are beginning to meet. Every turn I take like a prayer unsaid, watching all the daylight slowly wither and go dead. My hands on the leather but my mind in the sky, looking for a truth that the sirens cannot lie. I recognize the melody from long ago, a hidden seed of wisdom starting now to grow. Breaking through the pavement with the quiet force, returning every river to its primal soul. Light across the asphalt like a needle on the track, going where the shadows never try to turn us back. The low vibration swallows every fear I used to know, moving with the current where the dark waters flow. We are caught inside the gravity of one long breath, a temporary victory over the silence and the death. The heavy weight of living lighter than the air, when you find a secret portal hidden in the glare. Step into the vacuum where the pressure starts to drop, knowing that the motion is never gonna stop. Glide across the asphalt like a needle on the track, going where the shadows never try to turn us back. The low vibration swallows every fear I used to know, moving with the current where the dark waters flow. We are caught inside the gravity of one long breath, a temporary victory over the silence and the death. Through the silver haze, tracing patterns in the cosmic maze. Vibrations pull beneath my feet, where the ancient and the future meet. I see the spirits in the heavy low, moving faster than the shadows go. Everything is bending out of frame, nothing here will ever stay the same.
The frequency begins to climb, breaking through the walls of time. The current flows inside my veins, cutting all the heavy iron chains.
Spiral down into the velvet deep, waking from a long and hollow sleep. The heavy pulse is all I need to feel, spinning on a fractured golden wheel. Gravity is just a ghost I knew, dissolving in a shade of darker blue. Every breath is caught within the tide, nowhere left for anyone to hide. Ancient wires humming in the dark, igniting every solitary spark. The heavy weight is pulling at the door, while lighting reaching for the open door.
The frequency begins to climb, breaking through the walls of time. The current flows inside my veins, cutting all the heavy iron chains.
Spiral down into the velvet deep, waking from a long and hollow sleep. The heavy pulse is all I need to feel, spinning on a fractured golden wheel. Gravity is just a ghost I knew, dissolving in a shade of darker blue. Every breath is caught within the tide, nowhere left for anyone to spiral down into the velvet deep. Waking from a long and hollow sleep. A heavy pulse is all I need to feel. Spinning on a pressure golden wheel. Gravity is just a ghost I knew. Dissolving in the shade of darker blue. Every breath is covered in the tide. Nowhere left for anyone to hide. Spiral down into the velvet deep. Waiting from a long and hollow sleep. But heavy pulse is all I need to feel. Spinning on a fractured golden wheel. Heaven is just a ghost I knew. Dissolving in the shape of darker blue. Every breath is caught within the tide. Nowhere left for anyone to hide.
Silk threads stretch across the dusty plain. Wooden balls bend under silver rain. Ancient vibrations climb the canyon wall. Ancient spirits answer the valley call. Gold coins rattle in the hollow chest. 7 stars burn in the lonely west. The wind carries whispers of a tongue long gone. Songs that the mountains have always sung. The earth starts to tremble beneath the snare. Heavy smoke rises through the freezing air. Iron wings cut through the midnight blue. Old ghosts awaken to something new. Pressure builds in the hollow ground. Silence shatters by the heavy sound. Legacy rises from the red clay soil. Ancestors watch through the sweat and toil. The sharp sting of strings on the heavy pulse. The truth so bitter it must convulse. Thunder and shadows on the valley floor. We don't need keys to open the door. History breathes through the modern skin. Let the heavy storm begin. Sandalwood burns on a concrete street. Iron bolts march to the steady beat. Ivory carvings in a glass display. The sun turns purple, red, and update. Pretty wires tangle in the willow tree. Locked in a cage, but the mind is free. Ancestral echoes in the digital haze. Walking through a burning maze. The earth starts to tremble beneath the snare. Heavy smoke rises through the freezing air. Iron wakes cut through the midnight blue. Old ghosts awaken to something new. Pressure builds in the hollow ground. Silence shatters by the heavy sound. Legacy rises from the red clay soil. Ancestors watch through the sweat and toil. The sharp sting of strings on a heavy pulse. The truth so bitter it must convulse. Thunder and shadows on the valley floor. We don't need keys to open the door. History breathes through the modern skin. Let the heavy storm begin.
The spindle spins a web of heavy silk across the marble floor of ancient halls. A pendulum that swings through thick and milk, while shadows stretch on crumbling walls. I watch the needle pierce the velvet sky. The incense curls like serpents in the air. No need to search for where the secrets lie. They dwell within the silence of the glare. The low frequency vibrates in my marrow. A steady pulse beneath the golden dust. The path ahead is winding and is narrow. Between the spikes of greed and lust, the drone becomes a river wide and deep. It carries all the fragments of the day, while all the city watchers fall asleep. I find the melody to lead the way, drifting through the haze of indigo, floating where the heavy currents flow. Magnetic pulls that never let me go. to reach the peak of every dark desire. Transmissions from a star that burned away are caught inside the hollow of my palm. The ghosts of color turn to shades of gray amidst this artificial calm. The desert breeze a sigh of shifting sand. The glass is melting in the summer heat. I hold the compass in my steady hand and listen to the grand dame fleet. The low frequency vibrates in my marrow, a steady pulse beneath the golden dust. The copperhead is winding and is narrow between the spikes of greed and lust. The drum becomes a river wide and deep. It carries off the fragments of the day while all the city watchers fall asleep. I find a melody to lead the way, drifting through the haze of indigo, floating where the heavy current flows. Magnetic pulls that never let me go, below the surface where the giants go. A hollow humming in the copper wire, the cold reflection of a frozen fire. The spirit climbing on a rusted sky to reach the peak of every dark desire. Drifting through the haze of indigo, floating where the heavy currents flow. Magnetic pulls that never let me go, below the surface where the giants go. A hollow humming in the copper wire, the cold reflection of a frozen fire. The spirit climbing on a rusted sky to reach the peak of every dark desire.
The silver wire vibrates on Hollywood, transmitting ancient currents through the hood. I watch the heavy smoke dissolve in gray, where hidden spirits in the stillness play. A steady pulse beneath the streetless climb, distorting every fracture in the time. The gravity pulls on the velvet skin to let the deepest shadows all come in. The magnetic pull now drags across the floor, beyond the threshold of the final door. The copper taste of lightning on the tongue, the oldest song that ever has been sung. Drifting through the heavy violet haze, floating on the night's crushing breath. The cycle turns within the soul's spiral maze until the broken fragments coalesce. Serpent moves along the dark fretboard, igniting every dormant spark ignored. The frequency is rattling the bone, a king upon a liquid shifting throne. No compass needle points towards the north, just motion pushing further back and forth. The architecture of the mind does sway as familiar visions melt away. The magnetic pull now drags across the floor, beyond the threshold of the final door. The copper taste of lightning on the tongue, the oldest song that ever has been sung. Drifting through the heavy violet haze, floating on the night's crushing press. The cycle turns within the soul's spiral maze until the broken fragments coalesce. Fragments coalesce. ocean press. The cycle turns within the soul spiral maze until the broken fragments coalesce.
Reflect the flicker of the sodium haze. 60 miles of static in a dead end maze. Asphalt veins are bleeding under heavy steel. Something in the engine makes the silence feel. Concrete towers leaning like they want to fall. Blacked out windows staring down a hollow hall. Ghostly voices stuttering the radio wire. Fueling every shadow with a cold desire.
Shift the wind and watch the city drift away. Savage in the blur of gray. Keep the needle climbing till the vision clears, cutting through the static of 1,000 years. Midnight drifting on a razor edge, tearing through the city from the outer ledge. Caught in leather gripping on the spinning wheel. Broken pieces turning into something real. Darkness flowing like a liquid sea, chasing down the monster that I used to be. Till the stars begin to fade out slow, running where the heavy water currents flow.
Here's a grind of syncopated dirty beats. Shadows playing puzzles on the empty streets. Oil slick mirrors catching every sickly light, swallowed by the belly of the endless night.
System breathing heavy in the cooling fan, searching for the flicker of the hidden plan. Tires screaming secrets to the frozen ground, safe inside the fortress of a lonely sound. Shift the weight and watch the city drift away. Nothing left to salvage in the blur of gray. Keep the needle climbing till the vision clears, cut it through the static of 1,000 years. Midnight drifting on a razor edge, tearing through the city on the outer ledge. Heart and leather gripping on the spinning wheel. Broken pieces turning into something real. Darkness flowing like a liquid sea, chasing down the monster that I used to be. Driving till the stars begin to fade out slow, running where the heavy water currents flow.
Stretch across the desert heat. Sand dances under my callous feet. Ancient timber cars through the wind, where the spirits of the elders begin. The hollow body echoes 1,000 years, marching away, forgotten tears. Pluck the wire until the tension breaks. Feel the mountain and the valley shake.
Iron heavy chest while the cadence flows. Watch the shadow as the horizon glows. Petals fall on a sharpened blade. Memories of a dynasty that will not fade. Dust rising from the heavy kick. Like the fuse, let the inner fire flick. Can't carve tales in each vibration, building a bridge across the nation.
Indigo and die on the midnight roll, searching for a signal across the globe. Hand crushed ink stains every verse, lifting the weight of an old curse.
Legacy in the grain of dartboard, doing everything the ancestors said we should. From the high peak to the river mouth, chasing the pole towards the deep south. Unbroken lineage in the staples, nothing else matters when the truth is false. Carry the sky on a silver string,
Riches grind on polished stone, finding a kingdom on a solitary throne.
Woven patterns in the rhythm of the loom, chasing the heavy shadow from the room. The friction of the power makes a new spark, illuminating corners of the vast dark.
The snare snaps like a crack in the ice, paying for the future at a price. Every pluck a pebble in the well,
Breaking the silence, ringing the bell. Legacy in the great of dark wood, doing everything the ancestors said we should. From the high peak to the river mouth, chasing the pool chords, the deep south. I'm broken in the edge in a steady pulse. Nothing else matters when the truth is false. Carry the sky on a silver string. Listen to the song the quiet hills sing. Legacy in the grave of dark wood, doing everything the ancestors said we should. From the high peak to the river mouth, chasing the pool towards the deep south. Unbroken lineage in the steady pulse. Nothing else matters when the truth it falls. Carry the sky on a silver string. Listen to the song the choir hills sing.
chrome blends under the sodium haze, a heavy drift through the concrete maze. The jungle swallowed by the mist, counting seconds that don't exist. The engine hums a low drone sound, a ghost in circuits underground. Tires bite the rain slick flow, pushing for something more. The skyline owns a jagged blade, cutting through the silence maze. Digital ghosts and review glass, watching all those centuries pass. Static rattles in the frame, no one left to say my name. Filtering the air so cold, treading spirit for circuits and go. The friction ignites the air so thin, stripping layers from the skin. A violent momentum takes its toll, merging metal with my soul. Black asphalt bleeds into the deep, while a galaxy falls asleep. Velocity rising in the stream, drowning out a broken dream. The city pours whole machine, living in the spaces unseen. Accelerate till stars collide, nowhere left to run or hide. I see the data leak from sky, a pixelated tear in a metal eye. Heavy bass vibrates in the bone, king of a silicon stone. Dashboard glows a pale blue light, navigating endless night. The roads are wire, I'm the spark, searching gravity in the dark. The friction ignites the air so thin, stripping layers from the skin. A violent momentum takes its toll, merging metal with my soul. Black asphalt bleeds into the deep, while the galaxy falls asleep. Velocity rising in the dream, drowning out a broken dream. The city pours a gold machine, living in the space and unseen. Accelerate till stars collide, nowhere left to run or hide. went left to one or high.
Silk threads stretch across the Hollywood. Carved by hands that understood the mud good. Ancestors breathe through the silver wire, flicking sparks into a low-grade fire. Heavy kicks stud like a giant heart, pulling ancient modern frames apart. Gold chains clink on a woven vest, putting every shallow coast to test.
Iron sights fixed on the rising sun. Roots dig deep before the sprints begun. Technic pulse meets the goat skin thin. Let the heavy bass, let the ritual begin.
Cobblestone meets the asphalt heat, friction singing underneath my feet. Plucking history that no one told, turning dusty copper into gold. Resonance rising from the floor, breaking hinges on the temple door. Thump of the machine and the soul's own call, making shattered pieces cultural. Mountains high above the concrete grave, chasing all the shadows of the light away. Found the frequency within the wooden chest, giving all the weary wandering spirits rest. Mountains high above the concrete grave, chasing all the shadow of the light away. Found the frequency within the wooden chest, giving all the weary wandering spirits rest. Sharp notes cut through the murky haze, navigate the neon purple maze. 7 tones in a 5-tone scale, set the heavy iron ships to sail. Fingers move on the every bridge, build a castle on the highest ridge. Bloodline in the digital stream, wakes the giant from a long lost dream. From the mountain to the subway floor, knocking on the future with a roar. Old world hunger in a brand new map, heading to the north by way of the south. Mountains high above the concrete grave, chasing all the shadows of the light away. Found the frequency within the wooden chest, getting all the weary wandering spirits rest. Mountains high above the concrete grave, chasing all the shadows of the light away. Found the frequency within the wooden chest, giving all the weary wandering spirits rest. Mountains high above the concrete grave, chasing all the shadows of the light away. Found the frequency within the wooden chest, giving all the weary wandering spirits rest.
Silk threads stretch across the ancient desert ground. I'll walk through dust where no one else is found. Copper wires hum beneath my tired feet, with jagged mountains and the city skyline meet. Old wooden bows bent under heavy hands, spilling silver tunes across the burning sand. I carry stories that the elders never told, turning test to alloys made of steel and gold. The past is breathing down the narrow hall, riding omens on the gray industrial wall. The balance shifts inside the heavy air, I find a sanctuary waiting there. Ancient ghosts are waking in the modern machine, the space between the silence and the scream. I hear the hollow ringing of the valley deep, while all the restless giants fall asleep. The heartbeat pulses through the weathered stone, a kingdom built on foundations of the unknown. Iron clouds are gathering above the arcade square. I see the lineage in a stranger's stare. Fingerprints are pressed into the drying clay, while sirens chase the fading light of day. I balance on the edge of what was lost and found, to the sound of thunder shaking underground. down the narrow hall, writing omens on the gray industrial wall. But balance shifts inside the air. I find a sanctuary waiting there. Ancient ghosts are waking in the modern machine. The space between the silence and the scream. I hear the hollow ringing of the valley deep, while all the rest is giants fall asleep. The heartbeat pulses through the wet earth stone. A kingdom built on round nations of the unknown. Ancient ghosts are waking in the modern machine. The space between the science and the screen. I hear the hollow ringing of the valley beat, while all the rest is giant fall asleep. The heartbeat pulses through wet blood stone. A kingdom built on foundations of the unknown. Iron wire stretched across the ancient valley floor. Dust kicks up against the heavy wooden door. I see the spirits moving in the shifting sand. Legacies held in a trembling hand. The pluck of silk vibrates the hollow bone. A melody of seas that were never sown. The ground is thirsty for the stories of the old, buried deep beneath the silver and the gold. The tension builds inside the wooden frame. Nothing stays the same. The vibration starts to shake the very air, stripping every secret bare. Ancestral breath is moving through the wire, burning cold like a phantom wildfire. The mountains lean to hear the heavy sound, rising upward from the frozen ground. We carry every shadow that they left behind, in the labyrinth of a restless mind. The earth is turning under heavy boots, searching for the tangle of the roots. They say the sky remembers what the rivers forget. Every promise and every unpaid debt. The strings are pulling tight across the open space, mapping every line upon a weathered face. Still a cedar clash in a rhythmic dance, leaving nothing to the mercy of chance. The beat is steady like a hammer on a nail, setting course along a long forgotten trail. The tension builds inside the wooden frame. Nothing stays the same. The vibration starts to shake the very air, stripping every secret bare. Ancestral breath is moving through the wire, burning cold like a phantom wildfire. The mountains lean to hear a heavy sound, rising upwards out the frozen ground. We carry every shadow that they left behind, in the labyrinth of a restless mind. The earth is turning under heavy boots, searching for the tangle of the roots. Static crawls beneath the skin of boulevard. Blacking bleeds through a broken car. Headlights cloud the void and hollow chains. Accelerate till I can't feel my face. Glass reflections shatter on the cold dashboard. Tuned to a frequency the saints ignore. Heavy shadows breaths of velvet sea. Listening to the concrete hum its heat. Chrome veins pump oil through the heart of haze. Lost inside this flickering maze. Gears grind down to 4 AM silence. Every exit leads to my defiance. Rubber burn scars on the surface of night. Chasing phantoms of a fading satellite. Oxygen thins as the altitude climbs. Counting secrets between power lines. Pressure building up behind the dash's light. Sifting through 1,000 lonely flights. Vibration shakes the anchors of the past. This velocity was never meant to last. Concrete fever drags me in the grave. Chasing close to bay like you're away. Metal rib cage rattles in the wind. Where the journey ends, the sin begins. Engines scream a lullaby of lead. Following the maps inside my head. Total blackout swallows the rear view frame. Leaving every witness without a name. Digital decay tolls in the dark. Ignition sparks a dying electric car. Tires bite hard into the throat to turn. Feeding fuel the heavy spirits burn. No more signals from the tower base. Only momentum and the hollow space. Grip the wheel until my knuckles turn to stone. The asphalt is the only kingdom I own. Pressure building up behind the dash's light. Sifting through 1,000 lonely slides. Vibration shakes the anchors of the past. This velocity was never meant to last. Concrete fever drags me in the grave. Chasing ghosts of day like you're the way. Metal whip cage, metal in the wind. Where the journey ends, the sin begins. Engines scream a lullaby of lead. Following the maps inside my head. Total blackout swallows the rear view frame. Leaving every witness without a name. Concrete fever drags me in the grave. Chasing ghosts of day like you're the way. Metal rib cage, metal in the wind. Where the journey ends, the sin begins. Engines scream a lullaby of lead. Following the maps inside my head. Total blackout swallows the rear view frame. Leaving every witness without a name.
The asphalt bleeds under the heavy purple haze. Static crackles through the radio in a jagged maze. Thick sludge in the speakers hitting like a brick. Staring at the yellow lines making me feel sick. Chrome reflects the ghost of the city left behind. Glitch in the vision messing with a hollow mind. Tension humming low like a beast in a cage. Turning over blank leaves of a burned out page. Hydraulic breath exhaling from the rusted fence. Counting down the hours for the dollars and the cents. Subwoofer throbbing in the hollow of my chest. Scanning every alley for a place to finally rest. Cruising through the void where the signals go to die. Digital horizon meeting with a charcoal sky. Felt it on the dash and on windows tinted cold. Swallowed by the motion of a mechanical soul. Data stream dripping down the windshield like rain. Numbing out the frequency of a localized pain. Eyes locked steady on the flickering red light. Dissolving in the belly of the synthetic night. Tires spinning circles on the grid of the grid. Hiding all the secrets that the ancestors hid. Pulses out of sync with the clock on the wall. Waiting for the gravity to take it in a fall. Cruising through the void where
mechanical soul. Swallowed by the motion of a mechanical soul. Reflects the midnight void so bad. Tires bite the asphalt on the track. Shadows bleed through the cockpit glass. A low hum from the engine mass. I navigate a map of ghostly calls. The dashboard glows as a star falls. Feet in the dark with steady pace. Passing towers of empty space. The night is a cloak of obsidian, filtering noise from the day span. A passenger in my own machine, watching the world dissolve unseen. The silence speaks in the guttural tone, deep in the throat of the dark alone. Drifting through the static of the silent air. Iron veins pump the mercury's cold ray. Speed is the only weight I bear. Under the gaze of a moon synthetic stare. Concrete horizons melt in the rear. Every mile makes the memory unclear. Chasing the edge of the infinite curve. Lost in the depth of the metal tide swerve. Street lamps flicker like neurons that fail. Data packets drift in the humid air. Hands steady on leather and carbon tide. Eyes fixed on the vanishing points light. No destination written in the code. Just the motion of the soul on the road. The city breeze, an electric fog so thick. While the gears grind time away quick. The night is a cloak of obsidian, filtering noise from the day span. A passenger in my own machine, watching the world dissolve unseen. The silence speaks in a guttural tone, deep in the throat of the dark unknown. Drifting through the static of the silent age. Iron veins pump the mercury's cold ray. Speed is the only weight I bear. Under the gaze of the moon synthetic stare. Concrete horizons melt in the rear. Every mile makes the memory unclear. Chasing the edge of the infinite curve. Lost in the depth of the metal tide swerve. Drifting through the static of the silent age. Iron veins pump the mercury's cold ray. Speed is the only weight I bear. Under the gaze of the moon synthetic stare. Concrete horizons melt in the rear. Every mile makes the memory unclear. Chasing the edge of the infinite curve. Lost in the depth of the metal tide swerve.
Ironwood vibrates the velvet speaker sound. Thirst for the origin makes the seeker bound. I hear the ancestors in the frequency high. Blend the ritual with the urban sky. The wooden bridge plans the digital sea. Deep roots move in synchronicity. Technicolor dreams on a granite base. The oldest sound in this changing place. Basic tectonic shifts under silk and leather. Pulling pulling divided centuries back together. Not a relic frozen in a glass display, but a living light and finding a new way. Ancient wire hums through the modern marrow. Silver lineage travels a bow and arrow. From the dust of mountains to the concrete hollow, the spirit leads where the heavy pulses follow. Ancient wire hung through the modern marrow. One bloodline that the future cannot borrow. Sharpened edges of the synthetic land, search for melodies that escape command. The drum machine does like a giant walking, while hollow boards and the strings are talking. The signal flows where the old rivers ran, connecting the tribe to the future plan. A coded language in the neon light echoes the fire from the ancestral night. These tectonic shifts under silk and leather, pulling divided centuries back together. Not a relic frozen in a glass display, but a living lightning finding a new way. Ancient wire hums through the modern